Hello everybody, welcome to Bud Labs. Rise up your life. This video will be a little bit more relaxed and loose. There's no specific topic really. I will start it off by just responding to the comments I got on the video I uploaded yesterday about the best clipboard manager, which is of course Halen, that I have created, inspired by ClipJump. Talked about it in the last video. So the comments here, I got some nice we have missed you comments. I have missed you guys too. I have missed this. It feels really good to be back at this, to be honest. Yeah, really nice. YT Bone 9430 tells me that, did you try CopyQ before writing best Linux clipboard manager? This is a classic writing the comment before watching the video type of comment, but nevertheless not a good comment, because this kind of rang a bell when I read CopyQ here. It's a different clipboard manager written in Q with the Qt, so more of a KDE kind of program. And I think I tried this way back in the day when I researched what alternatives there existed on Linux. And one thing is that I never really been a Qt guy. If there is a GTK alternative, specifically GTK 2 or 3, I will probably choose that over the Qt application. You are like this yourself probably. Either you're a Qt guy or a GTK guy. I don't know. I honestly don't really know why either, but it is what it is. But I thought, why not just try this? Because I didn't remember anything how it worked, but I thought maybe that is actually a good application. So I installed it, and I can make a very quick review here of it. You see we get a system tray icon. I can click this, and that brings up a window, because that's how this works. I actually created a window rule for it, so it puts it in container B. Otherwise, if I remove this window rule and then bring up the thing, it's a floating window, or I think it respects like the window rules I have in i3 here. And this is one thing that is both a blessing and a curse, it being a normal window. So let's see now, Sublime here is active. If you pay very close attention, specifically to the tab bar of this container here, when I bring up this clipboard manager, did you see that it's in just a fraction of a second it was actually tabbed before it became floating? Because that is kind of how i3 with window rules and stuff like that works here. And that is a little bit annoying, I believe, and it doesn't make it perfect for tiling window manager use when it is a normal window. I wish it was. Maybe it is possible, because there is actually insane amounts of preferences, as all KDE programs you have, maybe there is a way to hide main window, hide toolbars, tools. I don't think so. I don't think there is a way to make the window be override redirect notification style. But that's one thing I kind of wish it had, but I have to say that it is better than Parslite, in the sense that it can display multi-line code blocks here. As you can see, these are different clips I have. But it also, like multi-line, it doesn't have a line limit, so this clip here is a gigantic clip. It's a C source file that I just copied to test how this worked. But I still think that is better than displaying it as a one-line menu entry, as the built-in Sublime clipboard manager does. Now it doesn't work because I think I'm also running Halen here, so I tried to run a third clipboard manager and system didn't like that. But if you are a Qt kind of person, then this is, and KDE specifically, I guess, then this is perfectly fine. It makes a lot of sense. To me, it also looks way too complicated for being a clipboard manager. I think we don't need much more functionality than I get with, for example, Halen here. That's all you need, in my opinion. But still, I think it's cool to just get like small suggestions about programs and stuff like this. It's always fun to look it up. But then same viewer here probably watched the video and wrote another comment, which is had a very interesting suggestion on a project I could maybe try to create. If you need another project, the GTK and Qt file pickers on Linux are in a lousy condition. Somebody needs to fix them. And I 100% agree on this. And what it's talking about is if I right click in the browser, for example, and select Save As, it will bring up the file picker dialog window, which in my case is a GTK3 window. I am using a package that's called GTK3 Classic, I believe it's called. Whatever, let's not bring up the AER page or anything for it, but GTK3 Classic makes it so one missing feature in GTK3 is that when you have list view like we have here, you see it's alternate colors on the rows here. I think this is, you need this to be able to follow the line here easily. It's so ridiculous that they removed alternate colored lines in list view in GTK3, so that's the main reason I'm using this GTK3 Classic. But I think it also does some more modifications to the dialog window here. I'm not sure how it would look like without GTK3 Classic, and it also depends on your theme and stuff like that. But it's not just about aesthetics, it's also about the functionality of these. It's such a simple thing. A file picker where you can select a file to open or save. Shouldn't be that difficult to create something good, you know, but both GTK and apparently Qt, I'm not sure how that looks, has managed to mess it up somehow. And these dialog windows are built into the GTK and Qt frameworks. They are not provided by, I'm using Brave here, for example. It doesn't matter. I think I get the same in Sublime. Let's see if we can open the menu and then we just save as. Yeah, this is, or actually it looks a bit different here. I don't get the symbolized icons here. It actually looks better in Sublime, doesn't it? And the padding around the buttons and stuff like that. I'm not sure what's going on. Why it looks like this here. But it's probably some mishmash around GTK3, GTK4. Maybe this is GTK4 actually. But if it is, then it shouldn't have this theme. Whatever, it's a mess. It really is a mess. And it would be so cool to have a decent alternative to this. So this is his suggestion, to write an alternative, and that might sound like a crazy thing to do since it is built into GTK and Qt, as I told you. But the thing is that nowadays applications uses on Linux uses something that's called XDG Desktop Portal Protocol or Desktop Portal Protocol or whatever it is, and using that, I am sure that you can actually create your own programs and hook them up to this desktop portal protocol thing somehow. And it is a very much doable thing. And reading this comment really inspired me to try to do this, because I have tried to do that in the past, years ago. but I gave up because it was so hard to grok how this desktop protocol worked. It's like it's almost like it's not meant for normal people to use it, only for like Red Hat employees kind of thing, you know. It's one of those things like dbus and things like that. It's almost impossible to even grasp a fraction of how it works. But you know, with my Claude Sonnet 4 large language model assistance stuff here, I can probably get this working now. And that would be a very interesting project to experiment with. And I think I will definitely at least give it a try. I have no idea how far I will get on it, but I will investigate how much I can do. And at least maybe try to learn how this desktop portal protocol works. But the thing is, you know, it's quite a complicated. Even if this is bad, it's still a very advanced program. This dialog window is essentially 85% of a file manager when you think about it. You need to be able to browse the file system, display icons in a list, and sort that list and stuff like that. And of course, you want thumbnail support in the file picker. This is a notorious feature that has been lacking in at least GTK for decades, or however it is. I don't remember the meme how it works now, but whatever. You know, there is a lot going on in just this little dialog window alone. So making a proper replacement for it is a lot of work. So I'm not sure. And also, how would you do it if you're gonna write a replacement to this? Should I use GTK? Should I use Qt? Or should I write like a from scratch, maybe use a Raylib or something like that to create the UI? I don't know. It's an interesting project nevertheless. And really, thank you a lot, Whitey Bone, for this suggestion. It's something I will look into. And I think it's even moved to close to the top of my to-do list here. And I get back to some to-do list items here, because I got a comment from Torsten where he say, are you using gaps now? And he's referring to gaps in my i3 setup. And as you can see, I don't use gaps because I forgot to enable them again, because I actually had them enabled just minutes ago. So if we enable the gaps again here, now this is how my setup looked like in the video, and what I have been using for the last couple of months actually. I have been using gaps, which is a controversial thing in the Bud Lab universe, because I have quite vocally told my opinion about gaps, which I believe is an anti-feature to the tiling window manager paradigm of managing windows. I really believe that it is a stupid, unnecessary, bloated anti-feature. Because the whole point of using a tiling window manager, really the essence, what it boils down to, is that you want a system that maximizes the available space on your monitor for your applications. And the problem you want to solve, you know, maybe it's easiest if I bring Sublime here to Workspace 2, so we can look at how it used. Now we also have to restart the icon service crap here, because it breaks all the time. But you cannot have icons on i3. That's I will get to that. So let's just open some windows here. So we get a classic. This is kind of how a desktop used to look like for me before I used tiling managers, window manager, you know. And let's imagine these are relevant applications here. I'm developing some web application, and you have the browser so you can preview, and then you have maybe a terminal running here, or yeah, I actually have a terminal running there, so why not have that also here? So. And then constantly, you do something in the terminal, then you go to the editor, and then you cannot see the text in the terminal, and then you open here, and then you have a lots of wasted space where the desktop is showing, completely unnecessary. All of this, you know, is solved by a tiling window manager. And it's not as simple as just maximizing the window. Sure, that also maximize, but we still have all this other crap now. And to manage multiple windows, you basically need it to be tiled. So you can maximize 2 windows, and they are like, wait, did you press a maximize button in i3 to maximize and they went in and it all made sense? Yes, I did exactly that, and it does make complete sense, and it's completely crazy in my opinion that tiling window managers doesn't have window control buttons, so you can minimize, maximize, restore, because that is essentially tile and float a window. If you maximize 2 windows, you tile 2 windows. If you maximize 1 window, it's obviously maximized, but maximize 2 windows, they are... It makes sense. It's like there's no learning curve or whatever. It doesn't confuse anyone, I believe. It confuses you more to trick people into saying that tiling window managers are about workspaces and keyboard centric. Why does it have to be keyboard centric? If you just had these window controls, then you could use the mouse 100%. But for some reason, no tiling window manager, or maybe Awesome actually has support to have that. I'm not sure. I got a bit sidetracked there. What was I talking about? Yeah, gaps. I was talking about gaps. I believe gaps is an anti-feature, but still I have been using gaps for the last couple of months here. And the reason for that is that I tell Torsten here that I have actually hacked i3 to have window borders drawn in a 3D style like actual pixel perfect, exactly the same as Windows 2000. And I have a Windows 2000 screenshot here, which we can open up, and then we can zoom with this Suzy program. So we get a pixel correct zoom, and if you look at the window borders here on this screenshot of the Windows 2000 login window and the window decorations, you can see it has this 3 pixel wide window border that makes the illusion of it being like a 3D window, but it is a very simple, just 3 pixels you achieve this effect. And another detail here is that the inner border here, it actually continues around the window title. So that's part of the border, kind of. And I hacked i3 to give me exactly that that window border. It's like I literally used this screenshot to figure out the colors and the position of the pixels and stuff like that, which isn't like rocket science do, but that's what I did. And when I did that, I wanted to see the full windows and stuff like that, to see how the borders look like all around, so I enabled gaps when I was using it. And when everything was completed, when I finally got this working, I realized that I liked the aesthetics of the windows with gaps when I had this border, because it looks completely different if you have if you don't have a fat border and a normal window border, then I think gaps looks much worse for some reason. But with fat borders, it kind of makes sense. And the funny thing is that fat borders make sense without gaps also. It makes a lot of sense actually. I wish that this was like just a built-in border style that we could have in i3. And as you can see, I have it here in my i3 configuration, because I made a proper hack, so to speak, to have configuration directives and stuff working as well. And I've been using this for months without any issues whatsoever. So I guess I should make a proper release of it. Maybe not. Or the thing is, I have lots of plans for this stuff as well. And this is what this video is. I'm just talking about ongoing dreams of the perfect rise, And as you could see there, I have some ideas about the desktop, about the minimize buttons. This is also part of that i3 hack, these window controls on the Windows. Desktop icons, we should have that. Currently I'm using XF Desktop, which is I've added lots of weird hacks to get this somewhat working, and it's still very hacky and like a 74% working RISE. And the problem is not i3, it is that there is no good desktop viewer programs that displays icons and stuff. XF Desktop has been the one working best for me, but it's still kind of crap. So that's a third program that I'm working on is a desktop program. I don't know if I said it already, but like a OpenGL GPU accelerated desktop program that displays icons, but it should also be easy to hide icons, so it works well with I think maybe that was what I wanted to say also. Yeah, because that is one other reason I have had gaps enabled when I started experimenting with these desktop icons. I wanted to see or make sure that the icons don't show through the gaps. When you have gaps and desktop icons, you need to hide the icons. Otherwise you will see them. You can see how they quickly disappear here. And now they quickly disappeared here as well because it's broken XF Desktop, that is. And now it's a stupid bash script that's running in the background that toggles the visibility of the icons depending on if I am on a workspace with a tiled window or not. So we kind of need a new program that is working well in a tiling setup. And if you want gaps in that setup, it shouldn't break everything. If I didn't have gaps, it wouldn't. This would never be a problem because I would never have to toggle the icons. And now when I think about it, maybe I should just do that and be happy with that. But the cool thing here with having a desktop running in the background is that I can actually right-click in between the gaps, and that brings up the desktop menu and stuff like that. You can actually use this for some things. One problem that I never managed to solve with my dirt hacks was that Conky is still, I cannot hide that in a reliable way. Maybe when I think about it, I can probably like force unmap the Conky window when I hide the icons, maybe something like that, but it gets incredibly hacky, all of this, and I don't want it to be that. I would like it to be smooth and streamlined and more or less working together with the window manager. So okay, I think you can put one and one together here and see that I have spent quite some time with the i3 source code to get this borders and window controls and stuff working. And this, I actually did this before I went into my new vibe coding phase here. So this was manual C code editing and programming. But I kind of, and it's something I've been wanting to do for the longest time actually, make a fork of i3. Initially it was like I want to make a fork and incorporate i3 as into as built-in functions in i3. This is actually a quite large project to do and difficult to do, but it is of course possible, and maybe not like 100% implement everything from i3 as, but quite a lot of the different as programs could be implemented, like i3 flip, i3 run, and moving windows, resizing windows in the way that I do here, I believe is superior to the i3 way of doing it, and it would be really awesome to have that built into the window manager. There are also some problems in i3 that I would like to address, like rewrite a couple of things And there is also quite a lot of bloat in i3 that I would like to remove and simplify both the code base and the functionality, make it a little bit leaner and better in my opinion. So a couple of examples of stuff that I would remove from i3 is keyboard support, so to speak. So you don't set up key bindings in i3. If you remove all of that, because there are better external programs you can use, and it doesn't bloat your system running like SXHKD or like XFCE's keyboard manager or whatever, because you could set up like global key bindings in this program, for instance, and that would work just as well. And that would also simplify it because it has nothing to do with window management really. As I mentioned, window management keyboard shortcuts are two completely different things and doesn't have anything to do with each other really. But window controls are very much a window manager thing, but that doesn't exist in i3. So it would make it like a mouse-based window manager. But just because you remove the key binding stuff, you keep the i3 IPC, so you can still send commands and manage everything with key bindings anyways, if that is what you want. And of course I will do that also. I like key bindings, but there's no need for it to be in the source code built into the window manager, in my opinion. So that's one quite large chunk I would remove, and also simplify like the configuration, because in reality, the i3 config doesn't need to be much larger than this section here. Honestly, like you said, the gap size, the tiling modifier, oh, but that's a keyboard, yeah, but whatever. The border style, the theme, maybe. I don't know what else I have here. Yeah, here we have some settings. Like these settings is basically all you need in the configuration, and that would also simplify the i3 project quite a lot, because it's almost like half of the code base is related to parsing the configuration file and stuff like that. Because the third thing I would remove from i3, if I could do whatever I want, is window rules, since that functionality is completely broken in i3. One thing I could do, of course, is fix the broken functionality, but I actually think I would rather like to remove the functionality of window rules from i3 altogether. And my plan is actually to write a program. I have this vibe info, which was an early vibe coding experiment. It's an unfinished. It's lots of bugs in this program, but it's a GTK2 application actually that displays information about the active window. And when I was doing this, I was thinking maybe I should extend this to have, you see it's a tab here, so have more tabs so you can set up window rules in a GUI like this. That would be kind of cool. And now when this has been just laying around, I don't use this program at all, since it is not working properly. There are some issues when I resize tile windows, it crashes and stuff like that. So this is not usable. But I could restart this project and make it a window manager agnostic, which is absolutely possible. You would only not get the i3 container ID and the marks item here, but all other information here about the windows you can get from the X client. You would also, of course, not get the keyboard shortcut output here, but that doesn't matter. What I'm trying to get to is like having a window spy a utility like this just to watch class names and stuff like that. That is very useful. But also being able to have like i3 King window rules in a window manager agnostic program is 100% doable, and something I think it would be cool to do. So then if I did that, then I could also remove window rules from i3, and what I would end up with is like a very lean window manager with just the core window management functionality and really good management functionality like i3 actually has, because as you heard, I have nothing against the actual window management in i3, but a lot of the stuff around the other functionality is not so perfect. And another thing is that i3 comes with a bunch of weird, like you have this i3 input, no, isn't it? Or i3 input there. This is actually, if you install i3, you will have, you probably never have seen this program, but it is installed on your system. I have no idea why, but i3 comes with this program, which is some kind of a weird D menu-like program. I think it's used so you can, if you run this, it will automatically execute i3 commands. So let's see, if we do floating disable, yeah, I don't know, I think that is how it's supposed to work. No idea, it's a completely unnecessary program, really. Like, we can use D menu if this is what we want to do, or whatever. I don't think anyone uses this, and i3 actually has more of these weird little extra programs. Some of them are of course nice, like the dump log and i3 message, but the thing is, i3 message is kind of bloated as well, because the i3 process itself, you can just send messages directly to that, so this is not really needed. i3 navbar should, in my opinion, be built into i3 itself if needed at all. Save tree, sensible editor, sensible pager, these things are more or less not needed. D menu desktop, yeah, whatever. i3 comes with a bunch of extra program, extra code, extra libraries and stuff like that you could safely remove and still have the best window manager around, which i3 is. i3 is the best window manager, still is, after all these years. It's starting to get close to 20 years of being the best window manager. How awesome isn't that? But I would like to do that. Fork it, slim it down, fix some stuff, and I don't know how much into the need, or why not? One thing that I have always been annoyed by with i3 is that it doesn't change the cursor when you're close to the window borders. But you can actually drag window, if you manage to click exactly on the window border, you can just click and drag. And you know, on many window managers, and specifically in desktop environments, then the mouse cursor changes when you hover the window border, so it's easy to see when you are at this specific pixel, you know. That is something that has been annoying me, that i3 doesn't have that. And I investigated why it doesn't do this, and if it was possible to implement it in, I tried to hack that functionality as well. But that is a lot trickier than I thought it would be. And it boils down to, i3 works like this. Now in tabbed containers it gets even more complicated, so let's go here. So this window here, some stupid solitaire program, it's running in a single window, and i3 actually creates two windows to display one window. And I guess this is just common window manager practice. Probably all window manager does this. Just to be able to draw window decorations, you need a window to draw the decorations in, basically. So that's how it works. It draws the decorations, and then in that window it adds the actual window as a child window kind of thing. And with X11 and stuff like that, you can listen for like mouse over events. So it's quite easy to change the mouse cursor whenever I hover this external window. But if we wanted it so that it the cursor should look different depending on what screen edge we grab. So sometimes it should be a horizontal, sometimes a diagonal, and sometimes a vertical resize cursor. But since all of these borders belong to the same window, then you have to do calculations on from which direction is the cursor approaching and leaving the window and stuff like it. It gets very complicated to add this because of how i3 has designed this thing. But I actually looked into a different, my old friend Phil Bush has this window manager called Shod. Let's just search for Shod Phil Bush and see if we find it. It's probably faster to search here than GitHub stupid search, because that just gets worse and worse. So here is Phil Bush Shod window manager. I was hoping to see some more fun screenshot, but he didn't have that. Demo. Yeah, here we have something. Demo to PNG. So this is how this window manager looks like, and that's like a floating tabbed window manager. So you can drag a Windows title into a different to have it tabbed in a. It's a really cool underrated window manager, and this window manager also has the ability to drag and it changes mouse cursor, and it's very easy to grab the borders, because i3, even if you can, it's actually quite difficult to just grab the borders for some reason. It's not just because it's hard to see them visually. There is something else going on as well. And I looked into the source code for Shod to see how Phil had done this here. And apparently he doesn't create two windows like i3 does. It actually creates 4 windows or something. So it's like a top window with a title bar, or no, it's 2 windows here at the side with only the right and the left margin, I believe, and then you have like the real window in the middle, and then you have 2 windows at the top as well. For the top and bottom border, and maybe it was even like there are corner windows as well. I don't remember, or maybe you can just calculate where on the border your mouse is, and if it is close to the corners, then you show a diagonal resize icon. This might sound like nitpicking functionality here, but I believe it would be a massive improvement, specifically for mouse-based workflows, because these, without window controls in the title bar and without this resizing. Now I accidentally closed that window because I tried to resize it actually, so it's so hard to click. Yeah, that's because the close button code, which some idiot called Bud has implemented, is too close to the window corner. But I think it would make a big difference to add that functionality, and it's something I would like to do. And that means if I would do that, I would copy the method that Phil Bush is using, making multiple windows, so each border essentially is its own X window, because you get a lot for free by doing that. And that would mean a quite large redesign on i3 just to achieve that, I believe. But 100% doable without breaking anything, really, if you do it properly. That's also something I would like to do. Then we have a nice window manager, standalone window manager. A nice standalone desktop application would be really cool to have also. As you can see, I try to create my stuff here now not to be window manager specific, because I think we should try to do that a little bit more maybe. And I have not been so good with that. I have made almost everything i3 specific, but if you're gonna write it from scratch, maybe then try to keep that in mind. But essentially my end game is like a desktop environment. I kind of want to do that. I don't have that many complaints about the XFCE panel. It works perfectly fine for me, but that's another program that could definitely be fun to create, like a bar. Always wanted to and the thing is, I use XFCE panel because that gives me access to whisker menu. But it would be really cool to have like whisker menu liberated, so you can use it outside of XFCE panel, which I think is also completely doable. Forking whisker menu, which I think is a perfectly fine, almost nothing I would like to change with whisker menu. It's just so good. Only thing I would do is, if I did, was debloating it a bit. You know, there is a little bit, a couple of features that I don't need at all in an application like this, but it would be cool to liberate it from XFCE panel, because now it is dependent on XFCE panel running. But maybe, you know, you could also use a different launcher also. It's not my focus at all here. My focus is the desktop application. Now the icons broke down again, because they do that constantly. Desktop application, so I don't have to restart it every time I switch workspace, or every other time I switch workspace I have to restart this. I hate it. Window manager, lean and clean. Clipboard manager, of course. And now that excellent suggestion here from YTBone9430 about file pickers, you know, that is very much related also. You know, we basically have a Bud Labs desktop environment. soon, trademark. I don't know. That was kind of this video, just talking a bit about what I have in my crazy little brain of mine. Me and Torsten, by the way, also talked a bit about Sublime. I mentioned that Sublime doesn't support AI assistance at all, and it is not 100% true, as Torsten suspects here. There should be some third-party plugin for Sublime to have Copilot support, and there is, but it is very much a third-party thing. It's not as integrated as in VS Code, and in VS Code you can have this quite advanced UI with a chat where you can add contexts and stuff like that. You cannot do anything like that with Sublime plugins. You are bound to the plugin API, which is very limited. You cannot add like extra UI element that doesn't exist and stuff like that. So you cannot build like a proper chat panel, which is what I am mostly interested in when it comes to vibe coding technology, are these chat windows. I actually, in VS Code, this is an issue. I think it's Electron based, that sometimes I have to switch tabs to otherwise it just shows a blank window. I have seen it happen with Brave also, but now it was a couple of weeks ago since I noticed it in Brave, so maybe they have fixed something in that. But VS Code, I often have to toggle the tabs to have it show the window. Not sure why, but as you can see here, I have VS Code disabled for like autocomplete, code completion. I only use the chat panel here. I don't like when it just inject codes when I'm typing it and stuff like that. It's extremely weird, in my opinion. I don't think I can get used to that. But this workflow, which is something I would like to just mention here, is that it's probably a good topic for a video showing my vibe coding workflow. And I think it's beneficial to show that, because Torsten briefly mentions that he almost is interested trying it out himself, and it could just be cool to see how I use it, why I think this is a good technology to use. when you are in the business that we are in, you know, the rising business, where it doesn't really, it's not that important. Of course, there will be so many side effects of this AI bubble that we are in now. You know, so many crazy programs that no one has any idea how they came to be, what they are doing. Lots of drawbacks with this technology, but as a writer, you know, I was already writing a bunch of. I have, as I mentioned, I hacked i3, the source code, without AI. What difference does it make? You know, it's my system. For me, it's okay. It's okay. You see what I mean, I hope. And it can be interesting to see how I use this. And also AI vibe coding. I don't think it's just a meme for risers. And that is really what cemented it for me, was when I saw Andreas Kling, you know, of Ladybird browser, the also creator of the Serenity OS. He was quite early on the AI train, so to speak, and explained how much it had helped. It helped him in his creative process programming, and he is a very good programmer, and a lot of other programmers I respect have made good points, and why this is useful technology. At the same time, lots of programmers I respect also absolutely despise this technology and say it's all bad. But I think many of them are, with all right, very nervous to lose their jobs, and they are kind of pissed off of this technology. And it's also it's not good, you know. Lots of jobs will be replaced by this, but that's that's not a good thing. Not just because people lose their jobs, of course, that's very sad, boo-hoo, but I think it's difficult for managers to actually see there are lots of good developers, programmers that are needed. It's not just about writing code. So also, it's about so much more than that, and these mass layoffs will have there will be a very big backlash to that, I believe. But we will stabilize in this. I hope. I really think so, because yeah, I think there is a lot more than generating code. When it comes to software engineering and development, so to speak, which AI simply doesn't replace and isn't even close to do so. But I think a lot of middle managers hiring people think that it's all about like generating code, and it might even be, or it will, they will learn the hard way that the more code you have, the more crap you have to manage, you know. And if you have like an automatic system that just generates code automatically, it's not like you get things for free. It's you get technical debt for free. And sure, you did that before, but now you get it in a much more rapid and uncontrollable manner, and that has a price, which we will see in the coming year or two. So lots of layoffs now, but you will see they will come crawling back, begging people back in just a couple of years. But some positions are replaced already and will never come back. So I think the sector, the IT sector, was already oversaturated, or how to say it, you know, the salaries way too high for what they actually do and things like that. So I think this will be a big reality check, and it is definitely like we have entered a new era in many ways with this, and 10 years from now we will not recognize maybe the world at all because of this technology. It's like the new cell phone. kind of thing. That's what I believe. But who am I to believe anything? Does it matter? I don't think so. Have a great day, everybody. I see you in the next video. Maybe that will be about my vibe coding setup, or maybe we take a look at this other program that I want to show you that I have created with the vibe coding technology. We'll see. Till then, have a great day. Bye, 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 bye.